Chris Reardon.
And good evening to you, boys and girls. Welcome to our second midnight phone-in. Chris Reardon with you, keeping you company for the next hour here at Reach on Air. Thanks so much to Mark there for the love box there. Is it Love Songs or Love Box? Sorry, I can't remember what it's called now. I'm sure it's Love Box or something like that. And am I right? Are you Mark from Mark and Natalie, or have I got that completely wrong? I'm not quite sure. Are you Mark from Mark and Natalie from in the Harlech television area? I can't remember. Do let us know, Mark. And he says, have a good show. He's off to the land of Nod. Or he might have gone already then, so we'll never find that out. It'll be one of life's many mysteries, won't it? Anyway, a tad cold tonight, I must say. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I turned on the heating. No, wait for it before you start moaning. For about 10 minutes on Friday night and Saturday night, only when I came in and only in my bedroom on my heating thing in the bedroom. I thought it was a little bit peckish. Just a little bit chilly. As indeed it is at the moment. But I'm going to put up with it, and hopefully the fact that I'm chatting away here will keep me a little bit warmer. It's a phone-in show, and you can call in about anything you want at all, okay? I'll open the number up immediately. You do need to be sending your phone number to me. I don't answer withheld or blocked numbers, okay? The reason for that is we've tried it before, and what happens is that you get just silly people just ringing up and putting the phone down all the time, or think they can get away with a swear word, which actually you can still do, to be honest. You can do it once, okay? You'll never be able to do it again, because at that point your number's blocked, all right? So if you want to try your luck, I'll keep a list of the numbers and block them all. Don't worry about that. But if you want to call in tonight, my phone number is 020 8144 3477. 020 8144 3477. We've got lots of things you could talk about. For example, I'd love to know if you've been in the queue and went to see the Queen's coffin in Westminster Hall. Did anyone do that? Has anyone stood in that queue for hours and hours? If you have, I'd love to hear from you tonight. 020 8144 3477 is my local London number. As always, gang, it's not a premium rate number, okay? It's just a normal London number. So if you're calling one of your mates in London, same sort of thing. You've probably got it in with all your calls. You know, you play once a month or something like that. We've got a call already. Hello, who's on the line, please? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, Vera. All right?
Yes, thank you. I'm fine.
Hello, Vera. Lovely to hear from you, darling. Have you got me on in the background there or something?
I've turned you off.
Oh, right, okay. I was hearing myself come back. It's bad enough having to listen to my own shows at other times. Vera's in London, and this is actually Vera from Vera's Choice in the morning. So, hello to you, my darling. Now, I happen to already know that you've been doing the queue thing, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I did this on Friday morning.
Right. What time did you start in the queue then?
Well, I started my journey. I got the first bus out, which was about 11 minutes past 5.
In the morning?
The first train, which was a Victoria line at 5:35.
Yes.
And I went, because the thing is, this is a very smart thing, because I couldn't figure out where the end of the queue was.
Right.
Because I searched everywhere on the internet to find out where the queue started from, because they were very sort of mysterious about people trying to find them. So I ended up in the wrong place.
Where did you go to first?
I went to Victoria. I don't know for what bizarre reason why, because this is where they were saying that this to go
right
initially. So I went to Victoria first, walked around there, and I thought, at that point, I thought I'd given up. So I walked around for about 2 hours anyway.
So you couldn't find any queue at all?
I couldn't find where I was supposed to be. So I carried on walking for 2 hours, watched the sun come up.
Right.
Daylight's appearing. And then I thought, people.
My Lord.
To be honest with you, I thought, when I got out of Victoria, I saw this lady, mother and son.
Yeah.
And I thought, they seem like they know where they're going, because they were on their phone checking maps and stuff, and I thought, I'll follow them.
Mm.
So I carried on following them, kept my distance from them. And they ended up in McDonald's. I was like, oh, well, that's not good, is it?
You were in a McDonald's queue, and you thought it was for the
They were heading towards McDonald's. This is why they were trying to find where McDonald's was.
Oh, Vera. I can't believe you've already told us you walked around for 2 hours trying to find the blooming queue.
Well, yes. So anyway, I managed to find it in the end. I found the queue, and I said, well, where's the queue? And they said, well, they could be towards Tower Hill. And I thought, Tower Hill, I'm miles away from that. So I carried on walking, picked up the pace. Eventually, I got to the park, when I told you when you were doing your radio show where I was.
Which park is this, Vera?
Is it Southwark Park?
Southwark Park, yes. Yeah.
Southwark Park. And I thought, well, this is going to be great. Well, we were there for about 2 hours, not moving anywhere. And I thought, well, this was the end of it. There was a lady behind me, bless her soul. She wasn't in the greatest of health. Right. And she sort of collapsed behind me. I think she had a mini stroke or something.
Oh, no, really?
Yes, and ambulance was nearby anyway. So they managed to take her away, and look after her. And the group that she was with, they couldn't really just say, well, you go and then we'll carry on. They all went with her. So I thought that's a bit of a shame.
We got someone here, Ben Brown's with us. He says, I'll be watching the Queen's funeral. Sadly, I couldn't go to see the Queen laying in state, and I regret not going. I do really, actually. But I'm glad I could.
I was going to say to you, I mean, if you can get to Windsor, by all means, that would be your thing to do.
That's right, yes. Yes, I've already been there once already. Let me just read the end of this. Ben says, sadly, I couldn't go to see the Queen laying in state, and I regret not going, but I'm glad I could manage to watch it on the television. God save the Queen. So thanks, Ben. Nice to have you with us this evening, I must say. Ben, he sings at the karaoke. Do you know Ben sings at karaoke?
Yeah.
He's been on a singing thing on the telly as well. I can't remember what it's called now. So you bring in a contestant at the bottom of the studio, and another contestant is at the top of some stairs. I don't think they can see each other, and he has to sing and woo the date with his or her voice, depending on who's sitting up the top there. Yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. Anyway, I just want to go back to... I can't believe you spent 2 hours actually looking for the queue. What a waste of time.
Yes, because the thing was, I was trying to figure out where to start and end, and they kept saying, go to the YouTube and you could see where you're going. I'm like, well, I don't understand. I didn't understand it. Yeah, I mean, I am very technically minded, but they were being very evasive about where to go. I think they were trying to put people off not going there.
Do you think so?
I think, yeah.
Blimey, okay.
But I made it in the end, and I thought, well, okay, I'm here for the long haul. Unfortunately, I didn't actually plan properly. If I had known what the route was going to be, I would have worn something a bit warmer.
Yeah.
Because we were really travelling around the River Thames area, and the wind on that was really cold.
Oh, I should think it is. I feel a little bit chilly in this room tonight, to be honest. Yeah. Anyway, so you're now in Southwark Park, which is quite a distance. What's the time now, then, in the morning? Friday morning?
I was listening
at 7-ish?
I think it was DJ Sparky, so it must have been about 8 o'clock.
Okay,
at that time. And then, obviously, I started listening to your radio show.
Right.
And I texted you as I was there, and I was still in the park.
Yeah.
I did take a picture of the crowd that was there in the park.
Yes.
And I thought at this point, because they were told that we were going to get wristbands, but we didn't get wristbands. And I was a bit thinking, well, I don't quite understand that, because they say if you leave the queue, you have to have a wristband to go to the toilet and come back.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, how do you get on with that? You can't just stand there for 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 hours and not want to go and have a wee, or even worse. I mean, in a way, it's luckier for the blokes, because we could always, no one bothers you really. We just turn around and go in a bush or something like that. But if you need to sit down, if you see what I mean, was there special toilets? Did you just pop into McDonald's or something like that?
Once you're in the park, you're in the park. I mean, they had portaloos everywhere.
Oh, right, okay,
There's
yeah.
loads of portaloos, but because I could say I was a smart cookie because I've been on long journeys before whereby I didn't have any breakfast. I didn't have any breakfast or any form of liquids, and I only had 4 hours sleep.
Oh, that's not
So
good not to have anything
I avoided all forms of liquid and food. So it meant I wouldn't want to go, and I didn't.
Okay.
Until about 7 hours or 8 hours in when I wanted to go. But I went into one of the restaurants that were en route.
Oh, right, okay. And that was no problem. Presumably everyone else was doing the same thing, were they?
Yes, but then people weren't being smart. I mean, they were sort of feeding themselves, drinking, eating constantly, and having to go to the toilet. So they were in and out the queues whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, you should...
And they had kids there.
I was going to say, it's not good to not drink anything. That's not good for your kidneys. Even little sips.
I pace myself because I go on long walks. You see, I do pace. I had chewing gum to keep the saliva going in my mouth, so that was not so I wasn't dehydrated. So,
well, you are because there's nothing going in, dear. Got to have stuff going in, yeah.
I've been doing it for years. It's not something I just suddenly did. I mean, I've been doing it for years, so my body's used to walking around. And because of the work I do, I'm constantly on my feet anyway, walking around for 6 hours. And I've already done a 6-hour shift already on my feet.
And what do you do requiring lots of walking?
I was in Sainsbury's, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So I only had 4 hours sleep that morning, got up, and I felt like death. I was like, oh, I can't do this. And I thought, I have to do this. I want to do this.
Right.
And it's amazing when you're in this queue. I mean, I tell you what, we are the best at queuing. The British people, like myself, is the best for queue. We know how to queue. We don't take any nonsense from anybody. We don't jump queues. We are there for the long haul.
Yeah, okay.
And in the end, I mean, you get to know the people who are in front of you, and you can say, oh, that person's there, that person's there. We're all in the same queue. And we all kind of look out for each other. I mean, I was amazed at the kids that were there. Were very well brought up and, very considerate with the elderly people. And they were looking out for them as well.
Yeah, nice.
Saying, well, they would say, oh, where's that lady gone? She's not here. And then they looked around and said, oh, there she is. And then they waved to her to say, we're here, come back into the queue.
Okay,
sort of
yeah.
I didn't know how. There's a lot of families there, especially babies. And I'm thinking, how are the babies going to cope in this weather? I mean,
that must be a bit of a
cold.
That must be a struggle having to change them all and all that out there.
Change them, feed them, keep them warm. They can get grizzly and they cry and they're miserable. They just don't want to be anywhere but in their nice warm beds. But they did manage it, the babies. So it got to the point where halfway there, and I asked this policeman, and I said to him, me being my cheeky self, I said, are we there yet? He said, oh, we're not far. I said, well, how far is far? And then he says, well, it's going to be another 8 hours.
My Lord, yeah.
8 hours. I think this was the point where they really wanted to put people off.
Yeah, where are you about now? Where?
I was sort of coming up to the London Eye.
So you're on the river now, yeah?
Yes. Well, we're all going. That's the route near the river.
See, once you're on that bit, it's like there's quite a lot to see, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? London Eye, Houses of Parliament, them. I don't know what they called those.
Yeah, you've got the HMS Belfast. You've got what's the other? There's another ship. I think I can't. The old ship or something like that. Cathedrals and stuff like that. There are some landmarks.
And are you making...
It's not well known if you're not...
Are you making friends
London.
with the people around you as well?
Yes. There was 2 sisters that were in front of me, and I didn't lose my cool or got angry when I stepped out to the queue to have a cheeky cigarette, because I thought, well, I've been for 5 hours in this queue and I haven't had a cigarette. So I thought, okay, this is the time to have one. I was pacing myself. And I got back into the queue, and this woman said, excuse me, are you just joining the queue? I went, excuse me?
Well, didn't she recognise you?
Well, you would have thought so if I was standing in front of her for 7 hours.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So the two sisters in front, she goes, "Oh, yeah, she's been here all this time." And she went, "Oh." I went, and I looked at her and I went, "Yes, exactly." Oh, and I went, "Thank you very much, girls." And I carried on with my business.
Let me read a couple of these messages out. Good to see you to evening to Weird City. Andy is with us tonight. Good evening, Andy. Dan Cope is there. Evening, Dan. There's Omar. Omar. He watches the karaoke nights, and him and his lady is there, Remy. So good evening to you. And Gaz Carter, I think. In Liverpool. I'm not sure where you are, Gaz. Evening, Gaz, who says, "Great show, Chris. Will be watching tomorrow's funeral. Wish I could have made it back to London to lay flowers and pay my respects. I'm not a huge royalist, but at the same time as everyone, she is all I've ever known." Yeah, like all of us here. And it's a shame for people who have been disrespecting her. They should remember that she is still someone's mum and grandmother. Oh, there's plenty of those around, Gaz. I've blocked most of them, I'm afraid. I can't be dealing with people who are, someone has died. There's a time and a place for saying stuff, Gaz says this will be the first ever state funeral I've ever seen. May she rest in peace. I think isn't that the thing for all of us? Because Philip's funeral wasn't a state funeral, was it? Wasn't the last one Winston Churchill's?
No, the Queen's mother was a state funeral.
Was that a state funeral? Okay, and the one before that? I bet it was Winston Churchill's. Wasn't Margaret's, was it?
I think it might be Winston Churchill. I mean, I'm not clued up on the history of the royal family as such when it comes to... But I think the Queen's mother was... Princess Diana, I don't think it was, but I think the Queen's mother was.
Right.
Princess Margaret, no. But it definitely was the Queen's mother.
Okay. All right, so we're now at about the London Eye. So the time is now what? Midday, 1 in the afternoon, something like that?
Something like that. I think it was close to about 3 or 4.
3 or 4 in the afternoon. So you're a little bit warmer now, surely?
Worn out, yes.
No, warmer.
No, none of us are warmer. We're still along the River Thames. We're still feeling the breeze and it's just
very cold. Yeah,
it's cold. But it wouldn't have been so bad if you were able to keep walking. But if you're stopping and starting and you're standing there for half an hour without moving anywhere, and then suddenly you move a little further, and then that stops, and so on and so forth. But then about halfway, I would say that we were then given wristbands.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. So that's quite a long way into the walk, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because you were saying you thought it was a bit odd that you didn't get any in the park. I didn't realise that happened a lot further along. Maybe that might be because at that point they would have expected quite a few people to give up. Did you see anyone giving up sort of while you were there? You must have done.
Well, not in front of me. I'm not quite sure what was going on behind me.
Right.
Perhaps the people behind, perhaps the people who are waiting to get into the park, because as your show just after 9 o'clock, you said that they were very close to being full and they would have to close the park and people outside will have to wait 6 hours or so before they can get into the park.
Yeah, that was on the Friday. Yeah,
gave up.
Okay.
But we were given wristbands, and at that point, the morale in the queue was a bit lighter now because we knew that we were going to see. No, we were going somewhere.
Yeah.
Now that we got this wristband, so people were now starting to smile and very jolly and started taking pictures of their arms and the wristbands.
Of their wristbands and all that.
With the. I know, it's yes.
Some old piece of baggage in the Daily Star this morning is reported woman selling £22,000 wristband to see the Queen. She's trying to sell her wristband for £22,000, probably on eBay. That's unbelievable. It says some people are attempting to flog the wristbands issued to people who queued up for 24 hours. And she says, I almost collapsed, this woman said. So the price is fair. Wow.
But the thing 22.
Yeah, go on.
you have to put the wristband on your wrist. It's one of those ones that you get, when you go to a nightclub and they put those wristbands so
it's got
tight that you can't get them off anyway.
Very strong glue, so it's going to be cut. It says here the highest...
You've got to cut.
Yeah. It says here the highest single bid seen by the Daily Star on eBay was over £66,000. I mean, it's just crazy. Are people actually going to pay that for a piece of paper?
I think it's just so sad that people have come to that point where all they were thinking about, not everyone, but the people who did this, all they were thinking about is money. Standing in that queue, thinking about how much they can make if they can get this wristband. I mean, I think it's really sad that some people have come to that.
I had never even considered that people would be doing that.
Well, you alerted me to that when you said people were selling these wristbands on eBay, and I looked on eBay, and that was Saturday.
Right.
And they goes in colours. I didn't realise they were colour coded. I think the first one was. I had a yellow one, so I think the first one might be the pink one. This was the first day, and that was a pink one, and somebody was trying to sell it for £75. I thought that's ridiculous.
Blimey.
And it says
I've got it up now.
Use wristband.
I've got eBay up now. I've got eBay up now. There's one there for £500.
What colour is it?
He's already had a bid. Brown.
That might have been
like a brownie. It looks like a piece of wood. Actually, it's a brown colour. There's an orange one on there, right? £7,800. Wait, get this. He's had 10 bids. 10 bids he's had for that. That's an orange one. There's a yellow. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. £530 for a yellow one, £60 for another orange one, and it goes on. There's it's not like loads and loads, I must say. I would say I can see about 10 on there, maybe 10, between 10 and 15 on there.
That's so sad. It's really sad that people have done this to make money out of somebody's.
Do you think people have just gone to stand in the queue to sell these things? Do you think so?
Well, this is what bothers me. I mean, people mentality that they've gone there for that reason, not to see the Queen laying in state, just to make money. And I just think it's so sad. I mean, if they could sell their soul, they probably would do that.
I wouldn't have the audacity to put it on there, would you?
No.
Andy has just texted in. He says, eBay have now banned the selling of the wristbands. I'm happy to say.
Good.
Well, I'm
glad to hear it.
I can still see some on there, Andy. Maybe those that are already there are going to be sold, but any new ones. I'm going to say hello to Caleb and Sophie listening this morning. Good evening to you two. Carry on, Vera, darling. Where do we get to now? You're moving along slowly with your wristband now.
We're moving along slowly,
yep.
And we're now making friends and having a chat, having a laugh. And one of the sisters that were in front of me that I was having a laugh with, she decided that she should get some food. So we're thinking, something light food, whatever. She goes away and she comes back eventually, because now we're picking up the pace in the queue. So we're keeping an eye out for her to see where she is.
Yeah.
She only went out and got pasta, and she was waiting for her pasta to be cooked, which would take 15 minutes. I said, so who does that? Leave the queue to go and get pasta. I would have thought they would have got something like a burger. Or, she was quite posh, actually. I mean, she was from Cambridge, need I say more?
Yeah.
And she went to get pasta. She said in the end, the pasta wasn't really nice. It wasn't very nice.
Oh, well.
But,
unlucky. I should have turned up with sandwiches. Well, if they're selling their wristbands, I should have gone along made some sandwiches and bought them down and sold them on.
Yes, I mean, if you had a mobile coffee store, you would have made a fortune selling tea and coffee along the route.
You should tell Jade at Zodiac. She's into all those sort of businesses, isn't she? Doing little sales.
She would have made a fortune.
Yeah, she turns around to anything, that one. Anyway, carry on, Vera. I want to get into the hall soon.
En route, people, and this is where I think the fail starts, things start to fall apart, because we had loads of portaloos at the park.
Right.
And then throughout the journey, we didn't see any more portaloo. That was it.
Oh, dear.
Everyone fending for themselves as to where they can find the next place to go for toilet.
Oh.
Some places said, no, you can't use our facilities. There was notice on the window saying, no, this is only for customers only, blah, blah. It would have been nice if the council or the borough would have paid certain people on the route to say, can people use your toilets? We'll pay you to do that. That would have been nice.
There was a story that said people were allowing them to use their toilets at home. Did that? You didn't come across that at all? Literally, people are, like, had their doors open. I don't know. Please use our toilet or something like that. Didn't see that at all.
London,
No.
There's no way you're going to see that. I mean, what we did see was a hell of a lot of runners running around all over the place. People
Runners.
jogging.
Oh, well, that's quite normal though in London, isn't it? Yeah.
And they were getting frustrated because there were people in their way.
Yeah, I should think so. Ben is just saying, talking about making money, any buskers out there near the queue would have made a fortune. Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, I never thought about that.
I mean, there was one random chap. I mean, he wasn't all there. He wasn't in the queue, but I think he was just walking around and making a lot of noise and whatever. And then, for some bizarre reason, he just came out and said, no. There's no limits.
Yeah. No limits. Who sings that again?
Everyone started singing it.
Too Unlimited, isn't it? Is it Too Unlimited? Something like that. Too Unlimited, yeah.
It was just a random...
I could have maybe set up a little mobile karaoke thing. I hired a generator or something like that. We could have all been down there. Maureen could have been down there singing. We'd have to do things, appropriate things, like, I don't know, church hymns and stuff like that, maybe.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So that was that.
Right.
And moving forward now, we're now approaching... I'm jumping the queue now, sort of heading towards
Jumping the queue?
Whitehall.
I hope you weren't, Vera.
No, I was not jumping the queue. I mean jumping forward with the story.
Right, okay.
So we got towards... We can see Whitehall and Big Ben, Gloria's Big Ben, but she wasn't chiming. I was expecting her to chime, but she didn't. And I was thought, okay, no more Big Ben.
Yeah.
And of course, the sun's going down, and now nighttime approaches.
You're getting cold again, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
or
colder.
Colder, yeah.
Colder. So we get to Whitehall, and they've got this string type thing, it wasn't. I wouldn't say there were barriers. There were strings classed as barriers.
Yeah.
And that's when I think a lot of people lost the plot.
Right.
All that time we were behaving ourselves, queuing in the normally British fashion. It then became a free for all when we hit that centre of that bit in.
Oh no! Did it?
And rather than snaking around the barriers, people were going under the barriers to jump the queue.
Right.
So everybody started rushing forward, and the people that we thought were in front of us, behind us, were now in front of us. And we thought, and I thought, well, no, this is not the time or place for arguments, and we're all going to be going just, to see her anyway, so let's let it be. And then eventually the gaps were closed, that no one could jump the queue anymore, so we started snaking around. A bit like when you were at the airport, really, not like some people would do that.
What do you mean, at an airport? What, snaking?
When you're going to check in and you've got to snake around these barriers.
No, I don't know what that... What do you mean snake around barriers?
I know somebody don't know what that means.
What do you mean snake around...
They do this to slow the queue down.
I just go... I get my bags and I go to the airport and it says club class and I go straight there. There might be one person in front of me. She takes the bag off me. Thank you very much, Mr. Reardon. Welcome to British Airways. Just go through fast track, and she gives us a box of chocolates and I go on my way. What is all this snaking through aircraft? I don't understand it, snaking through airports.
You wouldn't understand, dear. You wouldn't.
Good God, man. Is this a Ryanair thing or something like that, is it?
No, it's all airports, love. I mean, if you go first class or business class, so be it. But we are the normal people, and we experience normal life.
I am a normal person. Excuse me, I am a normal person.
That's the high life. That's the high life of flying for some people. But we just do economy.
I stay in cheap old hotels, I tell you that. Anyway, carry on, darling. I'm sorry to digress there.
I mean, before we got there, you got loads of people had these, what do they call them, folding chairs.
Right, yeah.
And there was like a graveyard area of folding chairs because you're not allowed to bring them into Whitehall.
So they take those off you?
Yes, they would
What?
all be confiscated.
To pick up afterwards, you mean?
No, there's no picking up afterwards, that's it.
What on earth are
Yeah,
they going to
that
do with
was-
all those?
Yeah, there were loads of them.
Oh, what a terrible waste.
Absolutely loads of them.
Right.
I mean, they were reaping the benefit of it,
Right.
during the journey, sitting down and having a good sit down. But then when they realised they had to give it up, they were not reaping the benefit then.
Right. Right. Okay.
So, and then we went into what I call Checkpoint Charlie. Which
Yeah.
everybody
yeah.
has to do. Even though you might be business class or first class, you still have to go through Checkpoint Charlie. So you just don't jump in the queue on this one.
Okay. Did
And this was-
many people actually jump the queue like that? How many would you say? 5, 10, 50?
What you mean before the snaking round? Quite a lot. It was.
Right.
We also. I mean, we all were in like one line of queue of people,
Right.
and then suddenly we got to the park area
Yeah.
of Whitehall, and then it just went crazy. People, they started doing it, and they said to themselves, "Why are we doing this? Why can't we just go under the barriers?" And this is what they did. So it doesn't make sense.
Oh, that's
to
a
go round
shame
and
to
round
hear
and round.
that. That's a shame to hear that. Alan Ross.
Yeah.
Alan Ross is loving listening to you. By the way, he's
Oh.
he's on another radio station at the moment.
Oh, bless him.
And he says,
Hi, Alan.
he says, I wonder if my listeners notice I play more music during the first hour on a Sunday while I'm listening to you.
Oh, they'll be all right. They'll understand.
Anyway, carry on, darling.
So we're there at Whitehall. We can see the building and the clock and the flag,
Yeah.
but we couldn't see the flag anymore because it's really dark now. But we're going round and round. That's where the Portaloos miraculously appeared now.
Oh,
They
thank
did
God for
appear
that.
at this end.
Hey, you know what
Well, then-
the snaking bit? Yeah.
Yeah.
How long in time were you in that place?
4 hours.
Wow. Wow.
Because you were going round.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kept looking at the buildings, and I felt like I hadn't moved at all.
That's boring.
It was just it was only a small area that we weren't moving, gaining distant at all. It was just it's very frustrating, and
Right.
I did at that point decide to use the Portaloo. And I tell you what, anyone who ever goes to concerts and stuff and it's night time, bring a torch, anything, fog lamps, whatever you can bring it with you, because mobile phones is not the ideal thing to use in a Portaloo in the dark, because it could end up in the pan and you don't want that.
Ben says, I bet the state of those Portaloos are hideous. Yeah, it was actually, Ben, that's the one thing that has always stopped me going to a musical outdoor festival. Not concert, a festival. I wouldn't go to Glastonbury or any of those because of the toilet facilities. There's no way I'd ever use one of those. But you had to use one or what?
I had to in the end, but you could smell them before you get to them.
Oh,
Put it that
Vera,
way.
no.
And
It's
and
like-
I was trying to figure out how. There's only enough room for one person. I mean, God help them when you've got children and you try to get there in the dark with a child. You can't see what you're doing in there. So I put my mobile phone, I put the torch on my phone, and I wedged it in the pocket and zipped it up so I wouldn't end up dropping it.
Yeah.
And I thought,
yeah.
well, I can't see where I'm going. This is not working. So I thought I'd try and balance it on the handle on the inside. That worked for a few seconds until it went crashing down to the floor.
Oh, thank God
And I
it didn't
thought,
go into the
"Geez."
toilet.
Well, no, it was on the door handle, and that didn't work so well. And I thought, I can't see I can't see where I'm going in the
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
Let's
yeah,
hope
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
aiming for the hole.
I wonder how many phones are dropped into those toilets.
Oh, I'm imagining
there
quite a
must
few.
be loads. You know,
Quite a
the
few.
best iPhone 14. I bet people go through those looking for phones.
Well, it's not like toilets where it's filled with water. It's just, and it's like the toilet handle is like a gearbox.
Yeah.
So you have to pull the gearbox to flush it. But I came out of there quite quickly. You know, I
I
wasn't ready
should think
to.
you did. Did you have a little hanky over your face, over your nose and mouth? God knows what.
You couldn't.
You're breathing in other
people,
people's particles, aren't you? How
people
awful.
were gagging as they were coming out. They were ready to be sick. They couldn't breathe. It's awful. It's the most. Oh well,
I'm sure.
Torture.
I'm sure she appreciates it.
Yes. Yes, it was the last. There were signs saying that this was the last time to use the toilets, and I thought, well, yes, it would be the last time because God knows when they clean these things, it would be the last time.
I don't know how that works. I mean, do they get emptied at some point, or are they just used until they can't be used anymore and then taken away? I don't know how it works.
At that point, people were past caring at that point.
Right,
I mean, their dignity went out the window when they had to go into a
absolutely
disgusting portaloos.
Absolutely.
But we were here for a reason, and all our dignity went out the window after that. It's like, you know what, we've done all this now.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Once you've gone, haven't you?
Yeah, the final part now is going through Checkpoint Charlie.
Right.
This was more like a military operation, much stricter than the airport.
Very thorough, was it?
Forces at the airport, it would be brilliant. So you're not allowed to have hand sanitizer. Had to be, you can't bring that. You had to get rid of that. Lip balm, they said I could keep that.
Yeah,
lighters, obviously.
I believe
perfume.
Little bottles of liquid. I believe, although I don't know how they do this, I believe you can make like a bomb out of mixing certain things together, or something like that, and that's why you can't take that. Yeah. What was that? What did you say?
Lipstick, hand sanitizer. You weren't allowed to bring. You had to get rid of that.
Right.
Lipstick, yes, you had to get rid of that. Perfume, yes, you had to get rid of that. Anything that, you could tell. I mean, there was a wall before we got inside you could tell the women were getting rid of their things. There was nothing there for the men.
I wonder why
lipstick, lip balms, and perfume.
I wonder why lipstick and lip balms. That's
lip balm was fine.
Maybe they think you might, if you got coloured lipstick
and perfume.
Maybe they think you might write on the wall or something. And you know what some of these nutters are like.
Yes, that's the point. Yeah,
that must be that. So you can't use that to write on the wall. Okay.
And you could see they weren't cheap perfume. They were expensive. That Chanel No. 5 and things like that. Really designer stuff on the wall.
You should have come out. You should have come out of the queue and just nicked a few bottles of that and gone home.
No, because you couldn't. Because when you come out, you're not coming out as the way you went in. There's a different door.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really double back and grab anything.
Right.
Before I went in, of course, I had to take my coat off. Everything went in my little rucksack thing.
Yeah.
Folding wallet. I had to take my belt off as well, and my hat. Obviously, I was going to go in there with my hat on, so everything. And then I was waiting at the other end for my stuff in a tray, and I thought, well, where's my stuff then? And I waited, and it wouldn't come out. And I'm thinking, what are they looking for? I haven't got anything else. Everything's been discarded and everything. And I'm thinking, what to hold up? Maybe they were going through my ID, my wallet, everything to check who I was.
Maybe.
I had no idea. But you know what? I kept my cool. I got this far. Eventually, I got my stuff, put my coat. But because taking your coat off, I was freezing now because I only had short sleeve. And I thought, oh, it's shivering. So I got my coat, and the hat went back in my bag because I'm not going to go in there with a hat on. And just before I went in, there was two people decided, I don't know what it was, they didn't want to go in, and they went out the side door. And I'm thinking,
oh wow, after all that queuing.
Yeah.
They may have just felt, I mean, I kind of get it. They might have just felt really uneasy. Of course, you can't compare the two, but I've been to Disney before, and you're on these roller coasters, and well, I don't go on the roller coasters, but I've been walking up there with like family or something like that, and you get to the top of this roller coasters, and you can see the top from down the bottom, and people queue up for an hour. Then they get there, and then they start letting people behind them go first. and then they just change their minds and come down. I
Yeah.
understand. I can see that, actually. Yeah, I can see that. Go on.
Yeah. And then there was another lady. She must have been in her, I would say, 80s. She was having a meltdown, and her daughter tried to control her and calm her down. I think she was having a bipolar. I think she said she was bipolar or something. The police were involved and trying to calm her down.
Right.
I think she went in before me, because I think the next day I was watching it on YouTube, and I can actually see that she was apprehended by the police and they were taking her out. So that was a woman that was taken out. So she was having a complete meltdown. I thought, oh Lord, this is not good. So finally, we were in. I was unfortunate. I didn't get to see the changing of the guards. So I missed that. It must have happened just before I went in, and then I went in, and it was just silence. It was just so surreal. There's no way to describe it. I mean, you have to be there to experience it.
Yeah.
I could see the coffin and the colours and the guards all around, and it was just silence. Nobody said anything, and I've never felt silence in a room full of people like that before. It was really breathtaking, and I made my way down, and I bowed in front of the coffin. I looked at the crown, and it was just breathtaking. I'd never done anything like this before.
The colours, the colours look fantastic on the television.
Yes, it is breathtaking. Yes, it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing to have been able to, being allowed to do this. I mean, they could have turned around and said, no, we can't, we're not going to do this. But, for them to allow us, the people, to pay our respect. It was, for me, it was, because my mother and the Queen is only a year in difference, and my mother was born 1927, and the Queen was born 1926, and I lost my mother 5 years ago. And it was an ongoing joke between my mother and I, to say, who do you think you are, Mum? You think you're the Queen? Because I am the Queen. The Queen is only a year older than me. So that was an ongoing thing with my mother and I, about her being the Queen. And the other thing is, I also shared, my middle name is Elizabeth, so that was an honour to have as well.
Right.
Having
that's
the
lovely.
name Elizabeth.
That's lovely. When do you first see the coffin? Is it like as soon as you come in that door at the top there?
Yes, as soon as you come through the door, you know that it just breathtaking. It's not like it's a different kind of feeling. It's not like you're in a concert. When you're in a concert watching something, that's different. This was something that I cannot describe into words, really. You cannot describe it. It was, you have to be there to experience it. That's why I'm urging you to go to Windsor if you can go on route. Just see for yourself.
When you get near to the coffin, do you feel do you feel anything sort of, like a power?
Yes,
perhaps?
it's like you're like one. I felt like I was at peace.
Right, yeah. I feel the same when I go to a cemetery, funnily enough, to see my mum and dad. Yeah.
Because before that we had through lockdown, I wasn't able to go and see my mum for 2 years at the cemetery and everything. And this was like a peaceful moment for myself, being able to do this. It was like saying goodbye to my mother at the same time. And, sending blessings and God wishes and stuff like that to the Queen as well as my mum at the same time. It was just a very moving experience. There were people that were in tears as well and very emotional.
Yes, I would be like that.
Some people were very emotional, and I was amazed at the children as well. Were very well behaved. They were just stunned. I don't know what goes through a child's mind at that age when they see something like that. It would be interesting to ask them, what do you think and what do you feel?
You're in front.
Because obviously,
You're in front of the coffin for just a few moments, are you?
Yes.
Right, okay.
It's a few. You can't stay there too long because you do get pushed along. So hurry up because we're now in like 2 or 3 rows on either side.
Yes.
I think when they first started it on the Wednesday, it was 2 rows.
It was I think it was just 1 each side, and then that became 2 each side. Are you saying it's now 3? Are you? Yeah,
then it came 4. It came a bit of a jumble, I think.
Right. Okay.
Just trying to move people.
Trying to get everything through. Yeah. So you came.
You just
once you've gone past the coffin and kind of you're going up the stairs, do you look backwards?
I didn't look back because that's. I don't know. They say when you. Well, I've never been in a room of royalty, so I wouldn't know how to react and how to behave when you walk away from someone in royalty. Right. Some people turn around and keep bowing their edge backwards. Out the door or whatever. But then I thought if I looked round, I thought that might be disrespectful or something.
Okay.
So I kept going out. It happened so quickly. After spending like 14 to 16 hours to get there, and then it was over in a matter of seconds, really.
Was there many people in uniforms, various different uniforms? We've seen soldiers, scouts, priests, so they're all on there.
Yes, there was a load of people, ex-service men and women, wearing their medals gracefully. At one point, I thought some of them were fake. You see what I mean? But you can't ask those questions. You don't know what one's supposed to look like. A real medal is supposed to look like.
Oh, I wonder why you'd wear fake medals.
Because I don't know. Some of them didn't look real. The way they were draped on their coats or jackets, because it just didn't look right. Some of them were real because you could tell they were of age, but some of these didn't look like they were of age, old enough. Some people didn't look old enough to be having that amount of medals pinned to them.
I have got a fake gold Blue Peter badge that Ray Reynolds, my friend Ray Reynolds, bought me on eBay. You can, you can buy fake gold Blue Peter badges. And people say, oh, where'd you get that from? Oh, I just saved a couple of lives, you know how it is. Oh, dear. How long were you in the hall altogether, would you say? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that?
I would say about...
Like from one door to the other?
3 minutes.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Because you don't have time to... I mean, whatever you thought about saying when you get there is all gone out the window because it's just breathtaking. So it was just a quick... And then you're in there, you say whatever you say, bow or curses or whatever, and then you're out.
Amazing.
It was quick. In, out, in, out.
Amazing. And once you're at the other side, was it just straight home, or did you start talking to people, or?
Well, I met up with the sisters that I'd spent 14 hours with in the queue, and I gave them a hug, and I said, "Well, we've come this far," and then, we gave them a hug, and one of them will be going back to. Well, she cheekily, she said, "I can't give up my lipstick and my perfume. I've got designer lipstick. I'm not letting them have that." So she, en route, there was a hotel, and she persuaded them to let them hold on to her stuff for her. She'll come back for it later.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, because she's got designer lipstick and hand sanitizer and stuff, and I've got OCD, and I can't give it up.
Oh, well, that's just an amazing story. Ben has written here, this lady explaining, this is Vera, incidentally, on the phone, has made me feel like I've been on the journey with her. Give her my thanks. She's explained the experience so well, which is nice. He's also very concerned about these toilets. He says, those loos, I would imagine, look like a scene from CSI Miami.
It very well. It was.
It's all sorts of.
When I went into the Portaloo, I have to say, I've seen so many YouTube clips and TikTok stuff of people moving these portaloos around when you're inside of them, and I thought, please don't let this move or fall over or whatever.
What a very unpleasant experience. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it stops me going to music festivals, you know. I might go to one of those. I quite like to go one of those soul weekenders that they do sometimes at Butlins and places like that, you know, and they have the real
Ministry
thing.
Of Sound's got one at Butlins, I think.
Pardon?
Ministry of Sound have got one at Butlins.
Oh, the Ministry do one, do they really? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Butlins.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, well, Vera, thank you very much for calling in and sharing your experience with us. I've changed the programme around a little bit more tomorrow for obvious reasons, at 9 o'clock in the morning when I do the music show. So I'll hold your choice over for Tuesday, if that's all right with you, my darling. Course.
I mean, there's one quick thing I wanted to say was that when I went to Peterborough, because I went to Peterborough yesterday and to see Paul's play, and they said, we're going to have 1 minute silence and we're going to play the national anthem before the play started.
Lovely.
And I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right, Vera, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Thanks for calling in. Cheerio now.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Beautiful. Vera in London there telling us what it was like to go and see the Queen. Perhaps you did the same. If you wanted to call into that, I'm really sorry. It's now like 7 minutes to 1, but we can still take another call or two. 020 8144 3477. Talking about the Queen at the moment, or indeed anything you want. You might have seen our little menu of suggestions on things to talk about on the Facebook today. Have you been queuing for the Queen? What was it like, perhaps? Have you ever queued for anything else for a long time, perhaps? Not everyone wants to talk about the Queen. I'm aware of that. You know, we have some sort of non-royalists and royalists like myself. I've always been a big fan of the whole royal thing. I quite like it. I think it holds everyone together, as is obvious, you know, to what's going on. There's a bloke sometimes I listen to on the radio who really disappointed me, I have to say. He reckons... And he's quite serious. He's on LBC. Actually, he might be on at the moment. I don't know what he's on Fridays and Saturdays. And he was saying the queue has been made to be a queue like it is, so that it looks like the Queen was popular. But basically, or the royal family is popular. Basically, that was the lines he was talking. I don't remember the exact words, but that's what he was saying. You know. We don't need to have a queue like that. They could have had some sort of system where, I don't know, you email in for a ticket or something like that, and you get like a time slot, maybe turn up 10 to 15 minutes before your time slot, and then you're in and out. He reckons it was unnecessary to have a queue. And he says the queue is... Oh, I beg your pardon. The queue was there to make the royals look more popular than they really are, which I think is a little bit much, don't you? It goes what Gaz was saying earlier. Was it Gaz? Yeah, here we go. People who have been disrespecting the Queen should remember that she is still someone's mum and grandmother, which exactly she is, you know. There's some very strange ways of looking at things, I think, really. I've been on that Facebook and seeing some of the ghastly comments there. How you can ever be happy. What about that old bag up in Scotland? The one who run the fish and chip shop. Did you see her? Came out the front of her fish and chip shop with a bottle of champagne or something like that. She's shaking it up and spraying it all over the place. And on her sign, she said, I can't remember what it says, Lizard Liz is dead. And she was partying and everything. Well, of course, everyone went around there and smashed the fish and chip shop up, didn't they? Windows got smashed. The police had to be called to take her away for her own safety. She'll never be able to open that chip shop again, will she? What a ridiculous thing to do. What an awful thing to do as well. 020 8144 3477 is my local London number. Running here for another four minutes, boys and girls. Don't forget, we've only booked this slot for another 2 weeks, okay? We were just trying out the sort of midnight phone in on Sunday nights to see how it went. So if you want to give us a very, very quick call now, 020 8144 3477 is my number. 020 8144 3477. Anything else you might want to say there, okay? I'm doing a little show tomorrow morning, as usual, as you probably know. I do a regular music and chat show here at Reach On End. It's usually heavily dance orientated and lots of funnies and little bits of chat. It'll be very different, of course, tomorrow morning. I must admit I struggled with that a little bit, but I've come up with a few little bits and pieces, and you can hear those tomorrow morning at Reach On Air at 9 o'clock, okay? On the phone, who's this, please?
Hello, Chris Reardon.
Is that young David?
It is Ugly Dave.
I recognise that deep voice always. How are you there?
I am very well, my darling. How are you?
Now, you're a delivery bike type person, aren't you?
I am now, yes.
So have you been near the queue at all?
No. I work southwest London, so I've managed to skip that part.
Oh, okay. Actually, I was just wondering, with all these like delivery, Uber Eats and all that, I suppose some of those people in the queue were ordering stuff to be delivered to them in the queue.
I have heard of stories about that, but unfortunately with Deliveroo,
yeah,
they will do it, but most other delivery companies, they need like a focal address.
Oh, yes,
so
of course.
You don't, so I work for a company called Gorillas now as well.
Who? Gorillas?
Gorillas.
Gorillas, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're a massive grocery delivery company. And they say that if you don't deliver to an address itself,
yeah,
you can't deliver that order.
Oh, I see, yeah.
It's about safety and ID and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't really get the semantics of it, but, because, if you're sitting in the park and it's, let's say it was like 3 months ago and it's beaming down 40 degrees.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And you want to order yourself 30 beers and you're sitting in the park and it's amazing. You order and then your delivery driver turns up and goes, oh, actually, no, you're in a park. I can't give you your beers.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Isn't
that a licensing thing? That's a licensing thing, though, isn't it?
I don't think it's licensed. I think it's about insurance or something. I don't exactly get what it is.
Okay.
Because if you order through Deliveroo, say, or Uber Eats or whatnot, they will just whatever, just
right,
booze and just.
I'm with you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, I've only got about 20 seconds left. Carry on, because I'll get cut off at one. Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe we should carry on the conversation later.
Well, thanks ever so much for calling in, young David.
Oh, thank you very much.
I hope you give those little tiny legs of yours a rest going round and round on those wheels, dear.
Tiny legs.
See you, Dave. Ta-ra now. There we are, Dave calling in at the end of the show there, boys and girls. Thanks so much to Vera. Caleb says, I saw some guy try to get in the coffin and was quickly taken down. Blooming idiots, aren't they? And Andy has enjoyed the show. Lovely to hear Vera's experience. He was right there. Thanks ever so much for listening. We'll do another phone-in show for you next Sunday at the same time. See you later this morning, just after 9. Thanks for listening.